There's going to be 10 tips that every new player should know when playing Trove. Keep in mind that these are going to be general tips for the free-to-play player and also solo player. And like I just mentioned, being general tips, it means that it can be something that everyone can benefit, but the newer player is going to be the one that is going to see the most benefit. So if you yourself have some general tips yourself that is not mentioned in this video, list them in the comment section down below. I compiled 10 of them in this video, and there's not going to be any particular order in any of these. And all of them are just going to be as important. So stick around throughout the whole video if there's going to be anything that you will see benefits. Like always, don't forget to drop a like and also subscribe to both this and the second channel, since both of them are less than 120 subs away to reaching the next milestone. This one for 5,000 subscribers and the second channel for 1,000 subscribers and YouTube partner. If you want to help me out, make sure to subscribe. Thank you as always, and on to the video. Tip number 1. Do all of your quest lines. You get questline as soon as you start playing the game. Do them and focus on completing them. Not only you are going to get rewards like free mounts, allies, and etc. and something like that, you're also going to get yourself items that will really boost your progressions, like stellar gems, a full set of power gen including a class gem, modules for the geocache, and other stuff like one-day patron pass. All of these are going to be very important, and all of this questline will help you out and explaining some things that you will be doing throughout the whole game. And also, after the Trolls with title update, you can also get yourself the Star Shard questline, which is going to explain a little bit on what is going to be the Star Shard. Tip number 2 is going to be mastery. I've done a recent video about mastery, but mastery is just going to be one of the most important things that you are going to be doing it in the entirety of the game. And it is something that you should be doing as early as possible. Most players focus on getting gems and gear, but really do leave mastery alone. But what if I told you that every 100 Trove mastery, you're going to get 20% of your base physical and magic damage, 60% of your base maximum health, and 400 power on every single class throughout your whole account? Would you just focus on it? Yes, those stats are going to cap at Trove Mastery 500, but those are going to be a lot of stats that you're getting from mastery alone. And this is not mentioning Geode Mastery, which I feel is just as important to level up, since it just grants 10 light per level. And it is going to be very important for endgame content. Tip number 3 is learning how to make flux consistently. Usually the best way to get mastery is going to be buying stuff like resources or mastery items. However, you could also use that same logic to make yourself some flux, selling high demand resources like nitro glittering, bleach bones, primordial flames, or the geo materials like ancient gear, builderite, or just are going to be like rare items like delve mounts, event items. If you don't have high magic find, you can just collect gear for flux. Pretty much the only main method of making consistent flux is via the marketplace. Again, this is going to be very important for you to increase your mastery. Tip number 4 is going to be when to upgrade your crystal gear. This is going to be a common thing that I see amongst new players, especially like newer to mid-game player. And that is going to be to upgrade your lower gear like Crystal 2 or Crystal 3s. And I'm just going to tell you, do not upgrade gear unless you really need that little bit of extra power to enter over 11. Don't spend your crystalline cores and nitro glitter in upgrading gear that you will be replacing it very soon. Focus on increasing powering with gems, dragons, and mastery. And once you actually decide to just increase a little bit more, then you can just upgrade your gear a little bit more here and there just to enter over 11 so you can get crystal level 4. I know it's going to be a little bit tough in the beginning, but it's just going to be worth it in the long run, because one piece of crystal level 4 base fully pearl is going to grant the same amount of light as a maxed out crystal level 3. So the difference in terms of damage is going to be very massive for endgame content, especially over 11. Tip number 5 is going to be dailies and weeklies. There's going to be a lot of dailies and weekly stuff in this game. Quest lines like Adventure World, clubs, and events, Geotopside 5-star dungeons for the reward that you actually get more crystalline cores, Star Bar for your dailies, and Thunder Uplands 5-star dungeons, legendary tomes, leaderboard contests, and delves for the weeklies. All of these are going to be very important, that will grant you a lot of resources that will boost you out throughout everything in regards to your progression. Do them. You are going to get a lot of stuff like chaos gems and power gems, bound brilliance, and gem boosters, and not to mention all of the resources like the legendary tomes, lunar souls, which is used for more and power gem boxes, etc, etc. There's many things that you can just do by just doing dailies and weeklies. Tip number 6, do not ignore old content. So this is going to be something that I even see even mid-game players do ignore. and that is going to be in regards to the old content like Luminopolis, GOK, recipe dungeons, and stuff like the Shadow Tower badges. Don't forget that these are going to be here in this game. You can just complete them and just get yourself a lot of mastery, or just new flux method in the case of the GOKs with the tier 5 resources. So do not forget about this old content, it's very important. Tip number 7 is going to be clubs. Clubs is very important in Trove. Not only can you get free stats, you could also join in a club where there's going to be a lot of players which are either willing to help you out in some of the content that you are struggling, or looking for group for content that you are also needing, like Dailies, Leviathans, and some of the offline 5-star dungeon for EXP or drops. So clubs are just going to be very important, so make sure to join it as fast as possible, especially a high level club. Try to go and ask in the global chat. There might be a possibility that someone might invite you. Note, a lot of high level clubs wants a player to be in a very specific power rank, and if you're wondering why, that's mainly because of the player limit in clubs of 750 players, but there might be other reasons, but I'm not going down into that rabbit hole. But yeah, in most cases, a lot of clubs really just ask for specific power rank. If not, then just join in a high level club. Tip number 8 is going to be to focus on one class and one class alone. There's also going to be something that I see very often, especially for the newer player and mid-game players, and that is going to be that they try to build multiple classes, and honestly the best way to build multiple classes is to have a class that is already powerful enough that can just get you a lot of the resources and a lot of the stuff that can just boost your power rank and your stats. Since you had to worry about damage type, class gems, and also if you want to build the class for bossing or dungeons, it's best for you to just focus on one class that is just going to be mainly for like dungeons for the most part, because that's where the majority of the content that you can actually just get in terms of progression because of gems. Once you actually just pick out a class that is just really good and can just get a lot of the resources that can help you out boost your power rank on other classes, that's when you actually start building other classes. Trust me, it's going to be a lot easier if you do that. Tip number 9 is going to be gem build. There's also a very common thing that I do see, especially on the mid-game side of things, and that is going to be that they try to focus on the top coefficient build for their respective gems, not knowing how much it grants. I've already done a video in regards to the gem system. I've already shown the amount of damage that you actually do get as an end game player, and the average that you actually do get from the standard quote-unquote average build to the top coefficient build is usually around less than 1%, and considering the amount of resources that you do spend in actually just getting the top coefficient build is definitely not worth it, because those gem builds are going to be meant for 100% maxed out players, so players that do have everything in the entirety of the game. So if you are a newer player, spending those resources for something that is not going to give you a huge increase is a huge risk, and it is not worth it in the long run. Also, a little bonus tip in regards to the gems. And power gems are usually time gated, and getting the optimal and power gem might take some time. So keeping those things in mind, you should know what to prioritize for crystal gem conversion, augments, and rerolls. And that is going to be empower gems. Since lesser gems, you can just grind them for the most part. And the last tip number 10 is going to be patience. I know this is 2023. Attention span is like non-existent. Actually, like 20%, probably even like 10% of the people that are watching this video might be hearing this part of the video here before actually someone types something in the comment section down below. Anyways, patience is key in Trove. You're not going to get everything in 1 week. Everything takes time. Players who are in the end game, they're there because they play the game a lot. Yes, even including players that paid a lot of money to actually just boost their progression, they still play the game a lot. There's a lot of waiting involved in Trove. So if you take your time to do one thing at a time, it's going to be very beneficial, because if you don't, you're going to feel extremely overwhelmed with the amount of stuff that is available in this game. Remember that this game has been essentially here for around 8 years or so. So naturally there's going to be a lot of stuff in this game. That's probably the biggest tip that I can give you in terms of how to approach this game. Just be patient and focus on one thing at a time, and you're going to see your progression just be much smoother and much better. And those are the 10 general tips that I can give to most players, especially the newer players. If you have any of your tips, then share them in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching.